Michael,
What's happening?
how you doing, man?
Glad
Good
you
to What are you doing here? One thing that's interesting is for Canadians who've moved from Canada to Beverly Hills, they're big on in the month of February wearing short sleeve shirts because they can never do it up there. So that's like the biggest trend I've seen. I think that there's, I don't even know if this is a real word, but I would say the market right now and going into 2025 is what I would call volatile.
Oh, that's an interesting
And what that means is last year the market was volatile,
Okay.
and you can't get much more than that
Okay.
unless you add an extra layer of volatility. And so going into the spring, market, everyone was expecting when the Fed dropped their rates in November that we'd see a slight decline in mortgage rates going into the spring selling season.
Right.
Which, as a little factoid, is always the first Tuesday after either President's Day, Valentine's Day, or Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay.
Now, rates are about 6.9%. They were 7% really most of the year. They were pretty high.
Yeah.
And we didn't see, even when the Fed dropped rates going down. And you had a lot of buyers sitting on the fence. But I think as we go into this spring market, what the lenders are telling me and what I'm seeing as well is that the buyers are kind of at a point where I can't be on the fence anymore. I've got life decisions to make.
Right.
It's time to buy.
It's not just monetary.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a little bit extra money is okay.
100%.
Yeah.
So, every neighborhood I think it's interesting to look at because every neighborhood in Los Angeles right now is behaving differently,
Okay.
and every price point's behaving differently.
Right.
So the way to explain that is like Santa Monica, where you'll have homes, 20 million down to 3 or whatever. When you're at the price point of around 10 million, because we're post Palisades fire,
Right.
that's actually the fastest moving market, that $8 to $10 million price point.
Right.
And a lot of the people that lost their homes or buying homes happen to be in that income range where it makes sense for that.
Right. Tell me as a
I'm
broker.
sorry. It's a laugh. The guy just
Whatever.
the guy that just walked by with the bag. I know.
Oh, no.
That's why we're on CNN right now, live talking to, because really in the luxury markets, like obviously Malibu with the fires and all that, but Bel-Air, Beverly Hills, the luxury markets are still in slightly buyers markets, but these other areas are shifting into stronger sellers markets. What I was assuming is you've got Palisades, and then the neighboring areas are definitely picking up. So Brentwood, Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Santa Monica is more like the Palisades though than any of the other neighborhoods. So
Right.
that's where they're kind of, that's where their community is.
Right.
But then you're getting compression in places like Encino, Beverly Hills Post Office, even
Right.
Beverly Hills.
We actually just had a conversation with an architect who does all the single family work. And he said that out of all the calls he's getting, and he's getting into 20, 30 calls like so far, he's had like 20 or 30 new people come to him who want to rebuild. He said they're all saying, we want fire resistant homes,
Yeah.
or we want fireproof homes was actually what he used, even though there's no such thing.
Yeah.
But fire resistance is actually becoming a huge thing when it comes to rebuilding in any of these areas.
Yeah. So a case study would be, as soon as this happened, I called a friend of mine who lives in a town called Redding, California.
Yeah, I know Redding.
Yeah, so they had some major fires there. Also, I guess in Oakland, there's some major fires. And he said that all of these communities, whether they're high-end luxury or not,
Yeah.
the rebuild was so much better than the original area. And again, because of the quality of the construction and things like that. So he's super optimistic, as am I, because the Palisades, just geographically and the topography of it, is a very unique place.
Sure.
So it is going to come back better than ever. It'll be really interesting to see how it is positioned against like the Beverly Hills and Bel-Air and Malibu. You should see some progress in 3 years, but it's not going to be normal for maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm no expert, but it's just what I'm hearing from people I'm talking to.
Interesting.
Yeah, and one thing I will say that I learned is that what's really unique about Pacific Palisades is the community aspect of it,
Right.
which you have a community in Beverly Hills and then West Hollywood and all this. But I feel like and I had some leases out there where I'm meeting with a lot of evacuees.
Yeah.
And the things that they're telling me the most is they miss their friends, their neighbors, and the community.
Right.
Whereas you have a lot of these neighborhoods, especially Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
where they buy in Beverly Hills because they don't know their neighbor.
They
And they
want
don't want to
privacy.
know their neighbor. Exactly. They want privacy, they want security. Whereas it sounds like one of the greatest strengths was, that sense of community. And that goes from the shopping areas to the schools to social organizations.
It's funny because when we were just talking to Mark about this as well, he was talking about creating the community space within the buildings that he creates, and the importance of, like, as opposed to, like, you live here and your neighbor lives here, that bringing the two together in a common space is being the most important thing when you're designing a building. So it's funny that that's kind of transitioning into the single family realm as well, where, like, maybe that importance of your neighbors is becoming a more prominent thing.
I know.
Right?
What's sad for me to hear is when I hear that, unfortunately, I have flashbacks of 2020 of
Right.
COVID when
Right.
everyone wants their isolation and
Yeah.
all that. So it's like, in theory, it sounds like an absolute utopia, and I
Yeah.
love the concept.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can keep going that direction, and it plays out that well.
I'll tell you something that's interesting about that, though, is everyone wanted isolation in early 2020. But what I noticed, and when I moved down to Manhattan Beach for a short period of time, was that after about 4, 5, 6 months, people were dying to connect.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, our neighbors would all come outside, and the neighbors would all get together and play at a distance, and, like, squirt gun fights or water gun fights, but they just wanted that social interaction.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something to, like, that isolation that people have that you're saying like here in Beverly Hills, maybe that there might be a shift there somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
That could be happening because of the fires even. There might be something there. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, I think always with disasters, whether it's fires or COVID or anything like that, while as it's horrific as it is, it always brings out the best of people.
Yeah. And it always evokes some change as well that could be for the better, that they maybe should have thought about a while back, like fire resistance, for example. That maybe they should have thought ahead of time that this could be an issue, and they didn't. But now that we've had it, and unfortunately people have to lose their homes, but now that we've had it, maybe that's going to change for the better, and you'll start seeing construction being a little different in terms of, like, being more fire resistant.